Paul Pierce is known as the Truth, 10-time All-Star, an NBA champion, Finals MVP. But long before the accolades, before the banners, came the night that nearly ended it all. In September of 2000, just weeks before the NBA season tipped off, Paul Pierce was the victim of a brutal attack at a nightclub in Boston. He nearly lost his life. He was attacked multiple times and struck in the head with a bottle. His lung was punctured. He was rushed to emergency surgery. And just like that, the entire basketball world held its breath. Was his career over? Was his life over? At the time, Pierce was just 22 years old, a rising star in his third season with the Boston Celtics. The year before, he had averaged over 19 points per game and looked ready to break out. Boston hadn't seen a franchise player since Larry Bird, and fans believed Paul could be the one. But late one night in September, everything changed. He'd gone out to the Buzz Club, a popular Boston night spot, when a fight broke out. Pierce, trying to defuse the situation, was blindsided and attacked by 3 men. One of them had a blade. Others used bottles. According to reports, the only reason he survived at all was because his friend and teammate Tony Batty was with him and rushed him to the hospital immediately. Without that, Pierce might not have made it. Doctors performed emergency surgery to stop the bleeding and repair his lung. Pierce spent days in the hospital. The Celtics organization was stunned, and the media, they weren't talking about basketball anymore. They were talking about whether Paul Pierce would walk again, whether he'd ever return to the court, and whether the Celtics' future had just vanished overnight. Meanwhile, Pierce stayed quiet, focused, locked in. No public interviews, no spotlight, just recovery. But what happened next, nobody saw coming. Just 6 weeks later, Paul Pierce was back, not easing into the season, not coming off the bench, started Game 1. And what did he do that year? He played all 82 games. He averaged 25.3 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.7 steals, and proved he wasn't just tough. He was built different. He didn't miss a single game, not a single minute because of that incident. No special treatment, no load management. He showed up and dominated. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement. What people often forget is that physical wounds heal. But what about the mental ones? For the next few years, Paul Pierce wore a heart monitor to sleep. He had panic attacks. He suffered from depression, privately, quietly. No one talked about it then, and Pierce himself wouldn't open up about it until nearly 2 decades later. He said, "I was paranoid. I couldn't sleep. I stayed inside for days. I was messed up." But still, every time the lights came on, he showed up and played. Over the next decade, Paul Pierce would carve out one of the greatest careers in Celtics history. 10x All-Star, 2008 NBA champion, Finals MVP, over 26,000 career points. His number retired in Boston and eventually inducted into the Hall of Fame. But for all the playoff heroics, for all the clutch shots, for all the step backs in Kobe's face, the toughest thing Paul Pierce ever did was what he did in 2000, when nobody would have blamed him for sitting out, and he played anyway. He wasn't supposed to survive. He wasn't supposed to play again. He definitely wasn't supposed to play all 82. But that's why he was called the Truth, because when the world doubted him, he gave them a reason to believe. Subscribe for more stories like this one, only on Court Chronicle.